So, translation, when Lord Brahma, the maker of the universal destination, thus saw the Lord, he simultaneously glanced over creation. Lord Brahma saw the lake in Lord Vishnu's navel, and the lotus flower, as well as the devastating water, the drying air and the sky, all became visible to him. So 33. Sakama bijam rajaso parakta Prajak Sikshan Niyadeva Dristva Astad Vishaga Bimuktas Tamidyam Avyaktatmani Abhivesitatma Sakama Bijam Rajaso Parakta Prajak Shikshan Niyadeva Dristva Astad Visaga Bimuktas Tamidam Avyaktavatmani Abhivesitatma. So word for word translation, Saha, he Brahma, Kama Bijam, seed of worldly activities. Rajasa Uparaktaha, initiated by the mode of passion. Prajaha, living entities. Shishikshan, willing to create progeny. Ayat, all the 5 causes of creation. Eva, does. Dristva, looking on. As taught, prayed for. Vishaga, creation after the creation by the Lord. Abhimuktaha, towards. Tam, that. Idiom, worshipable. Avyakta, transcendental. Vatmani, on the part of. Abhivesita, fixed. Atma, mind. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. ISKCON Pranacharya Srila BhaktiVasudev Swami Prabhupada Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Brahma, thus being so charged with the mode of passion, became inclined to create, and after seeing the 5 causes of creation indicated by the personality of Godhead, he began to offer his respectful prayers on the part of the creative mentality. Please kindly respond and repeat. Lord Brahma, thus being so charged with the mode of passion, became inclined to create. And after seeing the 5 causes of creation indicated by the personality of Godhead, he began to offer his respectful prayers on the part of the creative mentality. And purport, if even one is in the material mode of passion, to create something in the world, he has to take shelter of the Supreme for the necessary energy. That is a part of the successful termination of any attempt. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, English, 8th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Manifestation of Brahma from Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gnanajanansalakaya Saksolameditam Yena Tismai Sri Gurve Namaha Sachetayamano Vistam Stafitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Suhodato Dodaya Puspavanto Chitu Chandu Tamananda Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale Samit Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deva Gaurabhani Pacharane Nirvisesa Swami Bhali Pasatwadi Satwadi Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarebecha, Kripasamyayebecha, Patitanam Bhavanam, Vaishnavibhyo, Namo Namaha. So, welcome everyone to this segment of the morning programs. And from this text, we understand how Lord Brahma was perceiving the Lord. And from the previous text, the whole of the chapter, bringing to limelight how Lord Brahma became a manifest. And just like Lord Brahma was born by Lord Vishnu, everybody, everyone in this material world is following that same process of coming ultimately from Lord Vishnu. Because Lord Garbhodakashaya Vishnu created or made Brahma manifest, and from Lord Brahma or other forms of creatures were manifest. Therefore, our great grandfather is Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. And it's just like for anybody, wisdom means having to learn from those who have that theoretical and realize applications of those theories. So the Bhagavatam is giving us some enlightenment about creation. And there are other people, for instance, the scientists who have their own idea of creation. They call it theory. But again, we find that the general mass of people are docile, and so they follow just whatever the scientists tell us. So, for instance, the Big Bang theory, the theory of creation, it's not replicable. And science, in the development of theories, every theory has to be replicable, otherwise it cannot be generalized. But, the people in power, the government, and the general mass of people, we're docile. It means whatever the scientists tell us, we are highly susceptible to it. We take it. Because the assumption is, they are very learned and they are very experienced in the field. I mean, it's like you go to meet a doctor and the doctor tells you something, diagnoses you for any particular thing. You accept what the doctor says, is it not? Is it not? But I don't accept what every doctor says. I'm sorry. So I can give you a gross example. And this is why sometimes intellectuality is necessary to save you from trouble. And devotional knowledge, the application, for instance, is very important. It's imperative to save us from trouble. So I remember one time I went to see my hepatologist. And some of you recall, I had some liver problems some years ago. So I went to see my hepatologist in New York. And he did some scan and all the rest. And then later he came to me to say that one of my organs was not there. Before I went to that test, because of my liver, I was rushed for an emergency attention in the Jamaican hospital in Queens. So there, they had done every damn test and scan and everything, and I had all those reports. And so when this doctor told me one of my organs was not found on his scan, I just ignored him. Because I know that everything in my system is intact. So the idea, and this is what people do. Sometimes they tell you something like that, and then they have their own agenda. If you say, okay, if you are helpless and then you don't have a basic information about your own system, and someone tells you that, the tendency is to be in anxiety and say, so doctor, what are we going to do? I just ignored him because I knew everything was intact in my system. So then what happens traditionally is that when a situation like this happens, they could subject you to a surgery and actually remove that organ they said it was missing. They have to sell it. So the cheating goes on. And therefore, even the scientists, I remember the other day somebody were discussing, and then I debunked this one theory, and then the guy was just surprised. So I gave him analysis, basic reason why I debunked that theory that they have accepted. I asked, can it be replicated? But this, because a quantitative research, you develop a theory from a quantitative research, that research should be replicable. If it's not replicable, you cannot generalize it. But general mass of people, or the people in power who are just giving them money to sponsor this research, they don't know anything about that. So this is the difficulty. And therefore, in general, we have our literature, we have our books that are giving us detailed information. See, we don't have the capacity to go and, challenge the scientists. But we know what they're telling the world is either incorrect or partial truth. When you have, say, a bomb explodes, we never find in the history of the world, even in the history of science, that, for instance, there is a bang, a bomb explosion. That is a bang. A bomb explodes. That is a bang. Do we find orderliness generated from that explosion, from that bang? No. It's destruction. This is simple logic. So, the Bhagavatam is giving us so much detailed, meticulous information about the process of creation. And it just goes from one step to the other. One step to the other. See, we may not value what we have. But I tell you, this is something that majority of people could really be very much surprised about, because it's so detailed. If something is so detailed, it's difficult for you to find fault. It's not saying, the world was created. I mean, it's like in biblical literature, they said God created the world in 7 days. 6 days, and then the 7th day he rested. God needs to rest. He worked so hard, so he needs to rest. And which God is that? So, Lord Brahma, there is something very relevant to us in the purport here. The last text, Prabhupada mentions that for anything to be accomplished, we need some support system. Like Lord Brahma, see, when Lord Brahma found himself in the world of this lotus, he tried to figure out, where am I coming from? Where does this lotus, where does it end? So he tried to exploration, try to figure out, especially when kids become adolescents, they want to explore everything in this world. They want to explore their bodies, they want to explore the world. So Lord Brahma tried to explore where this stem is coming from. So he went in to try to investigate. Lord Brahma is the best of researchers. He endangered his life. He went in to investigate. And he couldn't find an end to the stem of the lotus. So he came out. And what did he do? He performed some austerities. He performed some transcendental austerities. You see, we want to know something. We want to be realized. It doesn't come like a flash of lightning. Some endeavor has to be put in. So Lord Brahma engaged in some austerity. And later, when the Lord was satisfied with his austerities, he endowed on Brahma the creative impetus. We find also in the Krishna Lila, when Mother Yashoda was trying to bind Krishna with a rope, a wooden grant immortal. Each time, the rope was always short by a dimension of about 2 fingers. And our acharyas have mentioned that. Yeah, every endeavor, there must be some effort, but we need also a support system. And in our own process of devotional service, we need the support of Lord Krishna. We need the support of the Guru. We need the support of the devotees around us. And sometimes your Guru may not be there, but then the devotees around us, they are the ones who can give us emotional support, even financial support, social support, or whatever it is. Jai, Sri Radha Gokulananda ki jai. Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. Guranataya ki jai. So in all circumstances, we need a support system. And Lord Brahma got the support system from the Lord himself. He gave him the inspiration. Those who are scientists, they know about this Eureka. You heard about Eureka, how that guy developed that model. He was trying to solve this problem for days. And then one day he was in the bathroom and something just struck. And he got the answer. And he literally had to run out from the bedroom almost naked, because he wanted to write it down. What basically happens that when you have some idea, you're conducting some rigorous research and you have some idea, it comes from the super soul. And if you don't write it down, you may forget. So that scientist, he quickly wanted to go and write it down. but he was in the bathroom. So, that is inspiration. Inspiration is coming from the super soul. And the super soul is the ultimate doer. According to Bhagavad Gita 13 to 15, 13 to 14, it mentions about the 5 elements of action. And so we need help in devotional service. And that help comes from even the devotees around us. We need help, and that help also comes from the effort we put in, like performing austerities, waking up early in the morning. That is an austerity. The Prabhupada said we should be self-regulated. Why? To be able to become absorbed, to have a better concentration. Because if you eat too much, what happens? Sleep. Sleep is also good, but what if you don't want to sleep at that time? So we need some support system. Lord Brahma did not just create, did not just get empowered just by sitting down and relaxing and doing nothing. He put in some endeavor. Some endeavor has to be there. And then the Lord will help in facilitating that initiative to an accomplishment. We have to take the initiative. We have to put in an endeavor. It's like, okay, you are a devotee of the Lord. The Lord knows all that you desire, all that you want. Do you need to pray to the Lord? Prabhu, you need to pray to the Lord? He knows all that we want. And you need to pray to the Lord. Yes? Bolo. Oh yes, there is a need to pray to the Lord. If we don't acknowledge that we are weak, even Lord Brahma, he acknowledged that he was weak. That is why he performed the austerities. He couldn't achieve he couldn't get to know what he wanted to know by his own personal investigative efforts. Therefore, he performed some austerities. We are also performing austerities. Believe it or not, just because we don't go to the forest to sit down nude or go to the bottom of the sea, or go to the bottom of the sea like Subaru Muni did, it doesn't mean that we are not performing austerities. We are performing austerities. To wake up every day in the morning, I don't know what time is stipulated for devotees waking up your bed. I remember when I joined, 3 o'clock, you must wake up. The temple commander rings the bell in all the ashrams, and you must wake up. And you're supposed to be able to chant at least half of your round before Mangarati. Oh yeah? So, we are performing austerity. Even just to get up every day and come to Mangarati is an austerity. And whether someone recognizes it or not, Krishna recognizes it. Therefore, we need to appreciate what we have. The process of creation as delineated in this Bhagavatam. Lord Brahma is describing the Lord. Which Lord? Who is Lord Brahma describing? Lord Krishna? Huh? Yes, who is Lord Brahma describing here? Those couple of verses, yes. Vishnu. Oh, yes? Huh? Are you sure? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, there are so many. Krishna has so many expansions. And he has different functions. Krishna first expanded to Balaram, on and on to the Chaturvyas, then again Chaturvyas, down, before it gets to Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and the description given here that Lord Brahma is describing is Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. The Vishnu of the universe. There's a Vishnu in our hearts, but this description being given here is the Vishnu of the universe. And each and every universe is controlled by Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. And there are billions of universes. I mean, it's like Lord Brahma, our Lord Brahma, when Krishna was at Dwarka, so he visited Lord Krishna, and at the gate, the security guard said, "Who are you?" He said, he said, "I'm Lord Brahma. Go tell my Lord that I'm here." And so he went, Krishna's security, he went to inform Krishna about the presence of an important guest. Okay? Like you have an important guest. The guest comes to the office, the personal assistant tells the CEO, you have an important guest. Just such is his name. And then here, Lord Krishna asks her, which of the Brahmas? Go and ask, which of the Brahmas? And when our Lord Brahma heard from the security that question, now which Lord Krishna wants to know, which of the Brahmas? The Lord Brahma was bewildered. He thought, what? Is there some other Lord Brahma? And immediately Krishna came. He wanted to show him that, yes, you had a doubt. Yes, there are other Lord Brahmas, there are other universes. So Krishna came, he invoked the other Lord Brahmas of other universes, and then they came paying Dandavat. Hellmen's crushing down. And some of Lord Brahma has only 4 heads. And there were those who had thousands of heads. So Lord Brahma felt very, very regretful for his doubts. Lord Brahma is the Supreme Lord of our universe. He is sometimes confronted with doubts. That's not the only time Lord Brahma doubted. When Lord Krishna was on a planet, playing with his cowherd boys, in the groups of Govardhan, Lord Brahma couldn't really figure out. He doubted. He knew the Lord to be somebody worshipable, and the Vrajabhajis are worshiping this small boy as the Supreme. He doubted. And he performed some experiment. He performed some research. Lord Brahma is very good in research. Okay? He conducted some research. He took the cowherd boys and then the calves away, put them in a cave. And then when he came back, he didn't see any difference. So he got confused. So he went back to the cave to check. Those guys and the cows, they were there. So he thought, I messed up. I screwed up. So we can also screw up, okay? So, these are very vivid, nice descriptions. Lord Brahma is very expert in descriptive analysis. Because he is the most intelligent person in this universe. He has 4 heads, we have only 1 head. His body is dominated by the element of intelligence. Our bodies are dominated by earth elements. So you see the difference? But even Lord Brahma, whose body is predominated by intelligence, he screws up. Is it me and you who will not screw up? Therefore, we need to be dependent. We need some guidance. Sometimes we find some devotees, when they take initiation, they think that the goal has been achieved. Become completely independent. But Lord Brahma did not take things for granted, because he had bad experience of screwing up himself a number of times. If the most intelligent person in this universe screws up himself, what about myself and you? Therefore, we need guidance. We need guidance. Because like Arjuna was also confused on the battlefield, he was very learned and he could even postulate ideas and confront Krishna with reality. But he was confused too. We can be confused too. So we see in this chapter, Lord Brahma was confused. He tried by his own effort to figure out the truth. He couldn't get it. Then he resorted to austerities. Austerities implies seeking for help to address our challenge, to address our problem. And Lord Brahma resolved his problem. And he was empowered with creative impetus. So we can also follow that trend of dependence on the mercy of the Lord while we make some efforts, we make some inputs, we take initiative. We also, Prabhupada said, make your plans and hang it on Krishna like a garland. Krishna is the final verdict, is the one who gives the final verdict, because he is Trikalagya. He knows the present, past, and the future. He knows us better than we know ourselves. And so these texts are very illuminating regarding dependence on the Lord in terms of innovation and innovative ideas. Any comments or questions? Time is up. Yes, please.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. I always just have one question regarding Brahma's austerities. What actually does it mean for him to perform austerities, and how does austerities, we understand that performing renunciation alone is not enough to achieve the mercy of Krishna, and usually we need the mercy of the devotee to allow us to actually see Krishna. So how can Brahma, just by performing austerities, actually be able to get that insight to see?
Yeah, that's a good question. We are told over and over, again and again, that our personal effort alone is not enough. So Lord Brahma tried to use his own personal effort to try to figure out the source of his creation, the source, where he's coming from. Who is that? What was responsible for his manifestation? So he tried to go down through the stem of the lotus, that it was endless. So we are told in this very Bhagavatam that he resorted to some prayerful austerities. Prayerful austerities means begging for the mercy of the Lord. Look, I'm helpless, my Lord, help me out. So he performed some austerities. Austerities, in most cases, implies someone or one who is performing the austerity staying in isolation or like a recluse and calling on God's names. Calling on God's names. Begging for the mercy of the Lord. And restricting himself from a number of things. Isolation is something very challenging. And people kill themselves when they are put in isolation. But the yogis, they will go to the forest to be in isolation, to meditate. So Lord Brahma meditated for a number of years. Then he was blessed with creative impetus. Meditation implies begging for the mercy of God. We also meditate now. We say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. We are asked to meditate, especially those who want to take initiation or those who have taken initiation. We are supposed to meditate, chant 16 rounds. That is the meditation prescribed in Kali Yuga. But what does that meditation mean? We are begging for the mercy of the Lord. Isn't it? Yeah. Lord Brahma was begging for the mercy of the Lord. He was meditating. The essence of meditation is to beg the mercy of the Lord. For any genuine devotee, essence of meditation is to beg the mercy of the Lord. Even the demons is to beg the mercy of a superior. Hiranyakasipu, he went to perform austerities. And when Lord Brahma came, what do you want? I want to be immortal. He was begging for the mercy of Lord Brahma. So yeah, Lord Brahma performed the austerities because he's a devotee. You see, I remember the case of one of Lord Brahma's sons. His name is Pipalada. Pipalada came to visit his father. One time, he's also a very great sage. He came to visit his father, and then he saw Lord Brahma was chanting on Mala. And he and his other brothers, they had thought Lord Brahma is the supreme. And they were right to think that Lord Brahma is the supreme. But he is the supreme of this universe. He's a secondary creator. So when people like that saw his father, he came to visit. Like you want to visit your parents, and then he saw your father doing strange things, something you never saw him did before, or something you don't consider that he could do. So, in a humble manner, people like to ask, who is the object of worship? We thought you are the supreme. You have an object of worship? Whose name you're chanting on a mala? And Lord Brahma smiled and said, yeah, you're right. I'm the supreme. But supreme of which supreme? I'm just the supreme of this universe. There are many other universes. I just have only 4 heads. There are other universes with Lord Brahmas of 1,000 heads. And to your question, yes, I'm chanting the names of Krishna. He is my supreme personality of God. Lord Brahma. So, Lord Brahma chants Krishna's names on Mala. Oh yeah. And in the Brahma Samhita, the conclusion of all his verses, what did he say? Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham. So yeah, austerity means to beg for the mercy of the Lord. Yeah. Okay. Okay, you have a question? Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class. My question was, you were speaking about that, how we need the importance of taking guidance. But I was thinking that, because it said that in the material world, they have 4 defects. Mm-hmm. So then sometimes we see that even like senior devotees, they make some mistakes. Mm-hmm. So how do we take guidance in like a certain way that this person will guide me?
That's a good question. Thank you. Now, there is a common adage that, for instance, if you have a newborn baby, you're bathing the baby in a big basin. Put the baby there, you're bathing the baby in a big basin. When you finish, you remove the baby and throw away the bath water. Okay? You don't throw away the baby with the bath water. So, similarly, there are set down guidelines that we have to use in evaluating somebody. Taking guidance from somebody, we have to know there are set down guidelines. So, when we followed those specific guidelines, I remember my Guru Maharaj, BhaktiVasudev Swami, when we just join, he will tell us, hey, read Prabhupada's books. Read Prabhupada's books. Read Prabhupada. Why? He said that so that you don't get cheated by anybody in the future. That's what he told us. So that we don't get cheated by anybody. If you read Prabhupada's books, if someone sits down here and says something that is contrary to Prabhupada's books, you can ask a question with humility. Maharaj, or Prabhu, or Maharaji, I like this statement. If I want to repeat this statement some other place and they ask me a reference, and then you will be able to be properly in tune with reality. Prabhupada said we should not follow blindly. Prabhupada gave us something very authentic. Srila Vyasadeva gave us something very authentic. So we can't say because conditioned souls have 4 defects, and so why you go to university? Why you go to learn? See, if even you are just a Parker student, you're doing a PhD, you will be supervised. You will have 3 professors in your committee: the chair, the methodologist, and the external examiner. You may be very Parker. I remember when I was going for my doctorate, I had all my plans, the topic I want to research on and everything. So sometimes the professors, they got surprised that, you have all your plans in place. But you still will have to work under the guidance of a chair, a methodologist. They will see you through in the process. Let me tell you a story. There are norms, there are grand norms that we follow. I remember in my university, if you submit your thesis, the professor has 14 days to review and send you a feedback. And there are rules beyond that. So here I had a methodologist who was wrongly reviewing my works and delayed me for 1 year. And I tolerated in the name of Krishna as a devotee. I tolerated, okay? For 1 year. You know how much it takes, you have to pay for 1 year in American universities or PhD program? I did. I tolerated. But you know what? He pushed me to the wall. And so I reacted. I told my chair, I don't want these methodologies in my committee. This is the reason. He's been wrongly reviewing my works. And I gave all the evidence, and my chair was shocked. He was completely shocked. But he tried to, petition me to just be tolerant and, the guy is a good guy. I said, it might be a good guy to you, sir, but I don't want him again. Then he couldn't deal with it, so he sent me to the dean of faculty. So the dean of faculty also they tried to protect their guys. She wanted me to still work with that guy. So she's a lady. She sent one guy to me to speak to me. whether I will be able to continue with that guy. But then still, I told the guy they did send to me, he had 3 doctorates. Doctor, 3. But he couldn't convince me. I told him, no, sir. This is the reason. So it was that guy who showed me exactly what to do to remove the methodologies from my community. And I did. I told this to one of my friends in New Jersey. He's a neuroscientist. He said, oh, you spoiled our professor's record. I said, I did not spoil the professor's record. He spoiled his records. Because he thought he saw somebody whom he can play around with. So the point is, there are standards you have to follow. And don't say because, people are falling down, so I don't need the guru. I know one of my friends, are you listening? One of my friends, he said, Swami, I don't want to mention his country. He said, Swami, he had 3 gurus. He changed 3 gurus. And his present guru is also in a problem. It doesn't mean that the process is not working. The process is working, and that is why even the people on top can get into trouble. If the process is not working, if there is corruption, you can cover up here and there. But if the process is authentic, if even you're on top, if there is some corruption, that's some problem. So don't lose faith in the process. It's perfect. And that is why Prabhupada says the laws of nature are very stringent. Subhari Muni, he performed austerities for over 50,000 years. He got into trouble. So, it doesn't mean that austerities is not good. But if even we are performing the austerities and we are not focused, or we hurt somebody, we cause violence to someone. Violence, according to the American Psychological Science Association, means when we hurt someone or a group. That is the reason. We are supposed to be non-violent. That is why we don't eat meat. We don't kill animals. If we don't kill animals, we don't want to hurt animals. Why would we risk hurting, offending anybody? These are the subtleties ingrained in devotional culture that people risk and they get into trouble. So it doesn't mean that the system is not working. Yes, we have deficiencies, but there's a check and balance. The scriptures will let you know. Someone says something that is different from the scriptures. Or someone simply wanting to use you for their own personal good. And there are people like that. They just want to use you for their own personal goods. That is not mentorship. Mentorship means someone is directing you to Krishna. No, come and give me service, come and give me service. Do this for me, do this for me. It doesn't work in that way. So yeah, we should be very, very careful. We should read Prabhupada's books so that we know when someone is authentic and someone is not. Yes, it's true. Sometimes you find people who have to mentor you and they are exploitative. See, purity is on different levels. And Krishna is supreme pure, and so purity is so unlimited. They can't mention the dimensions of ultimate purity. But we need to be careful so that we don't get exploited. It's just like when I met the hepatologist and he told me, I already examined myself in a general hospital. And I do that like every 3 months or so in the US. So when I met the hepatologist and then he examined me and he told me, one of your kidneys is not there. Actually, that's what he said. The scan, it didn't show one of your kidneys. I ignored him. So if someone who is supposedly mentoring you act like that hepatologist, ignore the person. But you need to know the truth. If you don't read the scriptures, how will you know when someone is trying to cheat you? It doesn't work in that way. A devotee should be very wise. We say we are not church goers or synagogue goers or temple goers. ISKCON is an ashram. Ashram is a place where knowledge is cultivated. Not only theoretical knowledge is learned, cultivation means we practice. We are supposed to be devotee practitioners. If you don't read the books, how will you even know what to practice? So it behooves us. We have to be defenders of our own lives. Read proper books. If someone is telling you something stupid, you will be able to identify it. Okay, we have to stop there. We are beyond our time already. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.